Hello and welcome to the Profitable Baker podcast, the show for bakers who mean business. I'm Annie Bennett, founder of the Home Baking Business Academy, and every week I'll be sharing practical lessons, mindset shifts, and inspiring stories from bakers who are building businesses they love. Because success in this industry isn't about who bakes the fanciest cakes, it's about who builds the strongest business foundations. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Profitable Baker podcast for bakers who mean business. Now, today's episode is a bit of a special one because it is the last episode of the year. We won't be having one next week because I think it's Boxing Day next Friday, isn't it? So I'll give myself a week off if that's all right. And instead of talking strategy, we're going to be talking about celebrating you. We're going to be looking back at 2025. Now, I know that every single one of you, every single baker that's listening to this, who has baked, posted, priced, planned, panicked, pivoted, and said yes and said no, you've raised your boundaries, you've learned your numbers, and you've believed in yourself. This episode is a celebration of what you've achieved in 2025. Big wins, tiny wins, messy wins, private wins, the ones you shouted about and the ones that no one knew about except you. Because I think it's safe to say that we rarely stop long enough to recognise how far we've actually come. We're so busy juggling orders and family and visibility and Christmas preparation and everything else that life throws your way that you forget to acknowledge the growth that's actually happened. So today we're going to do that. Today is your pause button. It's so easy, isn't it, to focus on the things that we didn't achieve, the bookings we didn't get, the markets we came away from with no sales, the feeling that we're not doing as well as all our competitors. But I want you to take a moment. You can pause this here if you want to, or listen to the end and then do it. What I want you to do is get a pencil, paper, or do it on your computer or on your phone. But I want you to make a list of all your wins. And I want you to write them down, because writing them down, you can read them, reread them, go back to them and add to them as well. Now, even things that might have just seemed ordinary to you, you got some bookings, you fulfilled the bookings, you sent out the cakes. Brilliant, that's an excellent win. The photos you took and posted on social media, the fact that you've actually done that is a win. Forget the fact that they might not have got as many likes as you wanted to. Social media is changing at the moment, so we won't worry about that. But the fact that you actually posted them, you're consistent on your social media, that is what matters. Did you try new products? Have you learnt new lessons, whether it's new skills or just lessons from being around other business owners? List them all, every single one of them, big ones, small ones, because they all count. The second thing I want you to write down are the things that you perceive as failures. Now, I rarely talk about failures as failures. I see every failure and mistake as a learning opportunity. Quite annoyingly so in some places. But I have the mindset that is, okay, if something's gone wrong, if I've made a mistake, there's no point in just worrying about it or keep it going over and over in my head. What I will do is I will take the learning from it. What can I learn from this? What went wrong? Why did it go wrong? What will I do differently next time? Do I need to learn something new to make this work next time? All of those things. And once I've squeezed all the possible learning out of a mistake or a failure, then I leave it. I put it on a metaphorical shelf and I leave it. I don't need to come back to it because I've taken everything that I need from it. So think about those things that you perceive as a failure, from the little things to the big things. Are there products that you're no longer going to offer in 2026? Are there things that every time you get a booking for one or every time you have to make one, your heart sinks and you think, oh no, I don't really want to have to make that? Make the decision not to next year. Are there markets, perhaps, that you'll no longer trade at? There's no point in relentlessly every week or every month or however often they are going to a market just because you think you should if you're making no profit or if you're not enjoying it. Make the decision not to. Find something else to replace that income. Or it may be that you've taken out some adverts in magazines that you think perhaps haven't served you very well and you've possibly wasted your money on them. Or learn from it. Where are you going to place your advertising budget so that you do get a return on your investment? And then thirdly, what I want you to do is I want you to think about what you want to achieve in 2026. I love this time of year because it's the time of year that I can really think about the following year, and I start to write down all the things that I'd like to do, all the things personally and in my business and with the charity that I run, all the things that I'd like to do, and I just write it all down. And then I work out which ones I actually want to do, and then I start working out a plan. So, what do you want to achieve in 2026? Will you be making time to learn new skills? Ones that you really want to master because there's certain products that you want to be able to offer to your customers. Do you want to widen your visibility reach, perhaps? You might want to start a YouTube channel or pitch into newspapers and magazines. Perhaps you think you might want to start a blog. All of those things. What is it that you really want to do in 2026? It might be bigger than that. It might be that you want to start a mobile van. It might be that you want to look for a premises and get into a premises. Whatever it is, write it all down and then work out a plan of how you're going to get there. Because writing it down, physically writing it down, it makes yourself more accountable to yourself. And then you're more likely to actually start working towards those things. Even if you think something's completely out of your reach, write it down anyway, because you never know, next year might be the time that you can make the first step towards that thing, whatever it is. Now, I do have a couple of baker stories, just a couple today, to share with you. But before I do, I want to offer a gentle reminder that wins aren't random. They don't happen by accident. They are the result of you backing yourself, you thinking, you putting things into place, even when it felt uncomfortable. So when you put up your prices, it was a mindset shift. Every time you said no, you formed a boundary, a professional boundary that people are then respecting. Every consistent post was an act of courage. Every booking was proof that someone sees your value. And every small decision you made this year has shaped the business you're stepping into for 2026. And if you're a new business, you've just started or you're about to start, just think of those possibilities. Think of what you want to achieve next year. And one more thing before I start telling the stories is that someone listening to this episode needs your story. They need to hear that it's possible. They need to hear that people just like them are making progress in ways that matter. Because I was told once that you never know who's watching you. You never know who's inspired by you. Most of the time, when we run our businesses, and I know this from experience, we don't feel very inspiring. We don't. It feels like a long, hard slog. But there will be people out there who are inspired by what you do. So just keep doing it. So let's have a look at my two bakers who've given me their stories. Lovely stories. Now, the first one is from the lovely Lowry from Sugar and Swirls. Lovely Lowry always gives me something to read out here. Lowry says, I only started in September and it's been a crazy 3 months. My big win was holding my first market stall. It made everything feel real when people started commenting that they loved the taste of my bakes. It was a huge, big smile moment and a realization that I can make this work. Now looking forward to 2026 and trying to set some realistic targets. Fantastic. So only a couple of months in, but you know that markets is the way you want to be in 2026. So get them planned, get them into the diary, get out there and set yourself some sales targets as well. Absolutely fantastic. I love that. And then secondly, we have the lovely Stacey. Lovely Stacey's in my membership. She says, "Hi Annie, my biggest win has been achieving a goal this year, which I'd set for achieving next year. So I started Little Garden Bakes nearly 2 years ago. I wanted to move into the area of rustic wedding cakes using my own produce and flowers I grow in the Little Garden Bakes garden, such as roses, dahlias, and hibiscus, which I can use fresh or dried or preserved. Anyway, I met the love of my life in April last year, not long after setting up Little Garden Bakes, and we got married this September. A very big personal win. Oh, that is just such a fantastic story. So many congratulations to you, my lovely. Such a lovely story." And she says, she goes on to say, "Of course, I made our wedding cake and then put pictures of it on my social media. This has led to me now having made 3 wedding cakes since September, and I'm making another one just after Christmas. I received a message from one of my brides which said, 'Hi Stacey, the cake was absolutely stunning and tastes delicious. It was greatly admired. Thank you so much. It finished off a beautiful day.' And that," says Stacey, "really is the icing on the cake, if you excuse the pun. Of course we do. We love a good cake pun." And she says, "Plus, I have quotes going out for future wedding cakes. I think if I hadn't posted photos of my own wedding cake, I would be hesitating to advertise wedding cakes, as like many of us, the old imposter syndrome kicks in, and I would have been waiting till I thought I was good enough." That is such an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that with me, Stacey. But that is so true. Sometimes you just have to jolly well just go and do it. Go and do something. I mean, Stacey's hand wasn't forced particularly, but she did it sooner than she had planned. She made her own wedding cake, and then other people saw how beautiful they were and they wanted them too. So I think sometimes it's easy to think, "Oh, I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that yet," and keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Sometimes you just have to bite that metaphorical bullet and say, "Right, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go out there and do it." And Stacey is an absolutely beautiful example of that. And I'm sure, Stacey, having seen your beautiful cakes, that you'll have lots of bookings this year. Stacey's beautiful niche is her own grown flowers that she dries and she puts onto her cake. So it's absolute beautiful specialism that she has. But it's such a lovely story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So, short episode this week, but as we head into 2026, I want you to carry one thing with you. Your business grows when you grow, but not when you hustle harder or bake more hours or burn yourself out, but when you evolve, when you trust your value, when you set your boundaries, when you make decisions from confidence, not fear, when you learn from those mistakes and think, "That's good, I can move on with that because I'm more skilled and more experienced with that now." So if 2025 was the year of finding your feet, 2026 is the year of planting them firmly. So let's get out there. Let's get into 2026. Start January as you mean to go on and really, really get your business growing. Please join me in the next episode, which will be at the beginning of January. It's a guest episode. A few weeks back, I had the pleasure of talking to Claire, an EHO, Environmental Health Officer, about kitchen inspections and all EHO food safety related things. And that is going to be our next podcast at the beginning of January. So do watch out for that. But until then, please let me wish you the most amazing Christmas break and the happiest of New Year's. And I will see you in January. And let's start January as we mean to go on. So thank you so much for listening.